Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan from Seaway Sports Lounge, and tonight we're going to be talking another episode of Leafs Timeout. In this episode, we're going to go over some Leafs news. We're going to go over some injury report that just came out. Kyle Dubas had availability to talk to the media, so he kind of gave an update regarding a few players. We're also going to talk about the Maple Leafs game against Pittsburgh. They played them tonight in Pittsburgh. It's their second meeting this year. We're going to go over, of course, what happened in the game, breakdowns of the periods, and of course, any takeaways that I saw that stood out. So, with that, let's just get right into it. In Maple Leaf news, of course, Jake Muzzin. I mean, sadly, Mr. Muzzin's had such a tough time this year and last year with injuries. The news does not get any better for him. He is actually going to be out to at least February of this year. That's at the earliest. They plan to reevaluate him whenever they find out more about his spinal injury. That's what he's suffering right now. Anyway, so he'll be out for a long time, which means his cap space actually will be available later at the deadline. So they may be using that to help make a move. I mean, obviously, we all wish well for Mr. Muzzin. Hopefully, he can have a speedy recovery and then get back on the ice. But right now, with all the injuries he's sustained with the concussions, plus this, his career will have to see if it'll actually continue or not. But that's a discussion for another day. Now, Dubas also feels that he wants to give his young players a chance to try and play more minutes to help fill the gap. Now, of course, they have Jordy Ben, who actually came in. He's played 2 games and he's looked really good so far in the 2 games. Tonight was one of them. Just all around, that's what he wants to do. So he just doesn't want to trade at the moment. And I don't know if there's actually a trade to be had anyway, because I mean, a lot of teams right now, they're still trying to figure out their roster if they can actually make a go for the playoffs or not. So normally trades normally don't happen at this time of year anyway. The Leafs will have to see what their depth can handle. So that's good. I think that's a good idea. It's a good plan to do. You know, might as well test your depth, see if they can handle the load. If not, well, then you go out and get some help. That's for news. Now, the Maple Leafs are in Pittsburgh tonight. They just finished their game. Matt Murray actually started tonight, has been cleared to play, so that's great. This is his first game back since the opener, actually, when he fell abductor injury. So he's been out for a very long time. I think at least 15 games, I believe I heard tonight. So he's starting. And the Leafs currently at the moment are 4-1-1 in November going into tonight's contest. They've kind of righted the ship somewhat. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries and a lot of battle tests that have gone on between the Leafs, the team, the fan base, players. I mean, everybody. So the Maple Leafs have actually played fairly well in November, which they tend to do anyway once they settle into their rhythms. So anyway, they've got 4-1-1. Matthews and Nylander were actually kept together. Marner is actually with Tavares and Kerfoot. They look really good tonight. So hopefully we'll see if that continues. I like this kind of combo. It went really well years ago, like a number of years ago when Babcock had it. The only problem was they were much younger. Their defensive capabilities were not as good as they are now, obviously, because they're a little older, more seasoned. Anyway, they look good both lines. And so saying that, the Maple Leafs won 5-2 against Pittsburgh. It was a really good game overall, even though they were outshot 37-33. Leafs had a really dominant first period. Second period was quite wild between the two teams. And then the Leafs actually just took over the third and just shut them down. So Pittsburgh had a few chances, but overall, Leafs just took control. And it was really nice to watch. A good overall road game. Very good and complete. So they only had the one power play. Actually, I wrote your power play goal. They actually didn't have any power play goals. My mistake. They just had the one power play and they didn't score on it. So it was a pretty clean game overall. There was an incident where Tavares actually got hit with a stick, but it was in the follow. It was when the guy was following through his shot. So it doesn't count as an actual penalty, but he had some damage to him there in the third. So hopefully he doesn't have any long-term damage to his mouth and his face. But anyway, probably going to be sore for a few days. So with the game, first period, Leafs scored twice. They went up 2-0 by the end of the first. And the big news is that JT got his 400th goal. Now, he's been waiting for at least 4 games to get this goal, according to TSN. Anyway, he ended up getting a really beautiful pass. He was he was out by the point, took a snapshot or slap shot, sorry, and he just went roofed the puck, and it was great. Got his goal, and good for Mr. Tavares. He deserves it. He's had actually quite the good year. He's had really good point streak. He looks so much better. I find his skating has improved immensely. He has more speed, which is what his goal was in the summer. Anyway, I'm really happy for JT. And obviously, it helps us. Now, Mitch Marner, he scored the other goal from a beautiful pass. Well, it was a play that happened between Riley and John Tavares. Marner was right in front of the net. He actually stopped and then turned around and actually like put the puck right past the goalie. Like goalie didn't have a chance. So overall, excellent performance for that first. Now, second period. Second period was a little more wild. Less than I think it was not even 30 seconds into the second period. Michael Bunting actually got a beautiful pass from Matthews, and he put it right past the goalie. And it was almost like an empty net. The goalie didn't expect it. It was a pretty wild period overall. Lots of goals. Pittsburgh got 2 goals very quickly right after that one and ended up being 3-2. And then afterwards, almost near the end of the third, Michael Bunting actually ended up putting another goal in, and he drove to the net and he was right in front. Anyway, the puck ended up right in front of him and he just put it right in. It was great. So he had an excellent game overall. He had 2 goals, 1 assist, Michael Bunting. So we need that from him. I mean, the guy's been pretty quiet all year. He's had a few goals and assists, but nothing consistent like he had last year. But it was the defense was not great on both sides. Both teams had wide open lanes. It was a very much a speed game in that second period. A lot of fun to watch, but I'm sure coaches weren't too thrilled with the lack of defense. But anyway, but both sides broke loose, and that's what happened. Now, third period, the Leafs locked it down. That was what the big push was, I believe, lately. A few games they've had recently where they basically let the game go on their own, like escape them because they couldn't lock down the third period. Anyway, they focused on their defense, didn't give the Pens much of a chance to get in back into the game. Matt Murray did his job. He shut the door. Leafs actually ended up scoring an empty netter right at the end from Nylander. It was a nice little quick shot. So, but overall, just a great defensive period, which is what they needed. They needed to learn how to just do this more often and say, you know what, let's close the game up. Let's finish them off. It is the Penguins. You do not want to give the Penguins an inch because they will take a mile. That's just how it goes. They will score at will if they want, when they want. Toronto did an excellent game with that. So congrats to the Leafs. It was nice to see, now they've moved up a little bit, a little more stable. And that's part of the takeaways. Great all around game. Again, second period was a little wild. Lots of offensive chances. Toronto drove to the net. All the things I talked about a few weeks ago in my videos when Toronto wasn't playing well, that they had to drive to the net. They had to put more pucks on the net. I mean, I heard that they're low. They are at the bottom tier of the league in terms of shots on net. So they need to put more of those on just to get the chances to try to score. And of course, attack the net. And the Leafs did that all night. They were attacking. They were going after the Penguins. They weren't sitting back. They were doing those offensive moves. They only did that in the third to close it up. And their transition game looked great. They were just flying through that neutral zone, no problem. Anyway, good for the Leafs. Great road game. But for me, the star of the game, aside JT getting his 400th goal, let's not take that away. That's a pretty impressive stat, if you ask me. It was Matt Murray. I mean, Matt Murray played a great game in his first game back. He held his own. He kept the Leafs where they needed to be. And you know what? He basically won the game for them in terms of doing his job. Excellent news. Hopefully he can build off of this. I mean, as I said in the past, hopefully he can prove me wrong in this deal. And tonight he looked fantastic. So hopefully his next start will be the same. Good for him. Good for the Maple Leafs. So with that, I think we'll stop it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found some value. If you feel you would like to see more of our videos, please hit like and subscribe. If you want to get notification when we do new videos, please hit the notification bell on the right. And with that, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good night.